Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. Tonight I'll give a quick recap of our annual report and financial statement audit for 2020. In this presentation, I'll discuss the components of our annual report and our 2020 financial statements in terms of the statement of net position and statement of activities, which are similar to a private company's balance sheet and income statement. I'll also discuss some highlights for 2020 and our financial statement audit and the results of that process, and I'll let you know where you can access the full report if you'd like to take a closer look. The City of Brookings participates in the Government Financial Officers Association Certificate of Achievement Program for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This requires that our comprehensive annual financial report be audited and that all funds and component units are included. It also requires a statistical section with economic and demographic information, and we received this award for our 2019 financial statements, and we were one of only 4 South Dakota municipalities to receive this award. We also submitted our 2020 financial statements for this award as well. This comprehensive report provides users with the most complete picture of our financial position, and the Department of Legislative Audit gathers the annual reports of all municipalities for state legislators and other municipalities to use for comparability purposes and also decision making. And then creditors, grantors, and financial institutions and credit rating agencies also use this information to determine our credit risk and creditworthiness as well. The annual comprehensive financial report is basically a snapshot of the city's financial position at the same time each year, and it includes the operations of the city as well as those of Brookings Municipal Utilities and Brookings Health System. The City of Brookings reported 23 governmental funds in 2020, and that includes our general fund as well as all of our special revenue, debt service, and capital projects funds. We also reported 12 proprietary funds. That includes our enterprise funds such as the municipal utilities and the health system, as well as city-owned enterprises such as the airport, liquor store, and landfill. We also have 2 internal service funds, which are our medical and dental self-insurance funds for employees, and our 2 fiduciary funds, which are our employee flex benefits and an account for the Rural Fire Association. The first financial statement I'll discuss is the statement of net position, and you can think of net position as the city's net worth. The city ended 2020 with a net position of $427 million, and that's an increase of $38 million over the calendar year. Net position is basically made up of 3 components. As you can see by the pie chart on the right, 57% or $243 million of our net position represents our net investment in capital assets. 2% or $8 million represents our restricted net position, which those funds are restricted for external purposes, and then 41% or $176 million would be considered unrestricted. And those funds are used to meet our day-to-day obligations, and some of those funds may also be subject to internal limitations and restrictions as well. The graph on this slide shows our changes in net position over the past 10 years. The blue bars represent our governmental activities, and the yellow bars represent our business type activities. As you can see, our business type activities net position more than doubled over the past 10 years, growing by $155 million. This is primarily driven by our utilities funds. And our governmental funds have grown by $49 million, or 66% over that same time period. Overall, our net position has grown by $204 million, or 91% since 2011. The next statement I'll discuss is a statement of activities. This statement shows the changes in net position in terms of total revenues and total expenses. And information on this statement is consistent with what you've heard in previous budget presentations and what you'll hear from Eric in a CFO report later on. Our general fund revenues are primarily driven by property tax and sales tax, and the 3 major departments that drive expenses in our general fund would be our parks, streets, and public safety. And then the 4 major funds that drive business type activities would be our electric, wastewater, telephone, and the Brookings Health System. As you can see from the circular chart, this shows our relative net position in terms of the city, BMU, and the hospital. And as you can see, 40% each for the city and BMU, and then 20% of our net position is represented by Brookings Health System. Next, I'll discuss some financial highlights of 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic played a major role in our budget and financial performance in 2020, and our budget and planned projects were revised due to the economic uncertainties at the beginning of the pandemic. Our leadership prioritized projects based on opportunities for local businesses and grant funding, and some of the projects that went on despite the pandemic were the Bob Sheldon Athletic Complex, the airport apron reconstruction, various street and drainage projects, and then some progress was also made on the fire department indoor training facility. Another major highlight in 2020 was our local government COVID recovery funds. Our finance team managed this grant and maximized reimbursement opportunities for things like payroll, PPE and other supplies, remote work and communication equipment, and sanitizing our office spaces. We realized $4.1 million in total reimbursements from this fund, and $3.8 million of that went directly to the city. $192,000 went to Brookings Municipal Utilities, $120,000 to Brookings Health System, and Brookings Area Transit Authority received a reimbursement of $16,000. It's important to understand that the general fund balance increased in 2020 by almost $4 million. This means that even without the local government COVID recovery funds, our general fund would have still ended in a surplus due to the cost-cutting measures that were put in place by our leadership at the beginning of the pandemic to operate within our means during those uncertainties. Then finally, I'll just go over our 2020 financial statement audit. We're pleased to report that there were no internal control deficiencies, no instances of noncompliance, and no material weaknesses for the reporting period. As I said before, we submitted our financial statements for the GFOA award program, and BKD CPAs and Advisors of Lincoln, Nebraska completed our audit on June 29th. We currently have proposals out for, or we're currently reviewing proposals, I guess, for auditing services for the next 3 years, and we're going to be making a recommendation to the council for that in September. This has been a quick overview of the 178-page report, and if you'd like to see the full report, you can access that on our website by going to City Departments, then the Finance Department, and Annual Comprehensive Financial Reports. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me now, or you can contact Eric or myself with any questions in the future.